Good evening. It is Tuesday, April 6th. This is the Groton Town Council regular meeting. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilors Granatowski, Bordelon, Baumgarter, Franco, Melendez, Obrey. Did I see Parker?
Yes.
Parker. And I understand that Councilor Heed will be a little late, and we believe that Councilor Zapiri will not be here, but he might.
Correct.
So you have 7 councilors, which is more than a quorum.
Thank you very much. And salute to the flag. Mr. Dunn, would you lead us in the salute to the flag, please, sir?
Yes, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic
under which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
with liberty
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Recognitions, awards, and memorials. We don't have anything this evening. However, we do have a public hearing. This is item 2021-1032, Pleasant Valley School property sale, public hearing. And this was on page 3 in your packet. Madam Clerk.
Okay, Town of Groton, notice of public hearing, April 6, 2021. Notice is hereby given that pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-163E, public hearing will be held by the Groton Town Council on April 6, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. for the consideration of the sale of public property, specifically 380 Pleasant Valley Road, the former Pleasant Valley School property, during a virtual meeting publicly available live on GMTV and YouTube. This was dated Connecticut, the 3rd day of March, 2021. Town Clerk Betsy McCousher. And we have this posted on our website for a whole month.
Thank you. So we will open the public hearing at 6:37 p.m. And I believe Mr. Reiner is with us. Good evening, Mr. Reiner. If you'd like to do a brief overview of what the public hearing is all about, please. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening, John Reiner, Director of Planning and Development Services. So according to Connecticut state law, anytime the town is looking to sell real municipal property, we have to have a public hearing. It should also be mentioned, so tonight is that public hearing. This property has been referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they found that under an 824 referral, they have found that the sale of this property is consistent with the town's plan of conservation and development. I should also mention that a number of the properties that we've offered for sale recently, we've gotten some feedback from the council, the public, as well as the RTM about looking at some other options, either on or off site, for recreation in those areas. And that's something that we've heard consistently about the western portion of town. And the town manager, myself, we're working with the Parks and Rec office, as well as with Paige Bronk, looking at some alternatives in this area of town. This property has gone out to RFP. There is a selection committee of town council members, RTM members, and staff that have been working on this. And they've just been going through the process. We don't have a formal recommendation at this point in time, but at some point in the near future, we'll be talking to the council about a preferred developer. So the purpose of the public hearing tonight is really to discuss whether or not the town should sell this property. And that's what we're here for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reiner, for the overview. And I have 2 people signed up to speak for the public hearing. And the first is Larry Dunn. Just here. Did we lose Mr. Dunn between the pledge and now? There he is. Mr. Dunn, you have the floor. I'm sorry, I forgot to state, you have 5 minutes to do your presentations. If you could state your name and address for the record before you begin speaking, please. Thank you.
Larry Dunn, 91 Crosswinds Drive, and I'm speaking as the chairman of the Conservation Commission. Part of our responsibility is to provide input and guidance to the town council related to properties as it pertains to open space. We've reviewed a number of parcels. In particular, on this one, we support the town's effort in terms of putting it up for sale for redevelopment. It has a number of positive attributes on that side of the equation. On the environmental side, we have looked at it, and it's a modest economic value in terms of its natural value. It ranked something like 9th out of the 11 properties we've evaluated for, to date. I would want to add, though, that there are 8 acres in the back of the property. There are 8 acres of forest canopy that, if it's commercial on the front end, I would look forward or recommend a form of conservation easement that would protect those mature trees and help with our carbon balance and carbon sequestration objectives. And with that, I will yield the floor back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. And I believe we received that by email already. Is that correct? I think it was sent out.
That is correct.
Thank you very much. And next we have Representative Lauren Gauthier, please.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. Representative Lauren Gauthier, District 4 on the RTM. I live at 31 Bortson Road. I would just like to thank you for hearing us tonight, and I'd like to ask the council to consider thoughtfully the needs of the families that are living in this neighborhood and in District 4 in general. I appreciate Mr. Reiner acknowledging that this part of the town kind of lacks some of the public amenities that other areas of the town have. And I do acknowledge the importance of responsibly developing and growing our town and our grand list. But I also know that quality of life and public recreational spaces are very important to the families here that live in these neighborhoods. And as it stands now, there's very little public park space in District 4. I have a young son, and we try to walk around and go out as much as we can. However, some of the nearest properties, town properties that we could go to, either require crossing very busy roads with little to no sidewalk or driving across town to get there. I believe it'd be in the interest of this neighborhood and the town as a whole to make sure that there are public amenities like fields, like playgrounds for families and adults to have recreation time in. And it would, just improve kind of the whole quality overall of the neighborhood and very much benefit the families here. We already have a large apartment complex being developed pretty much a mile away from Pleasant Valley at the William Seeley School. And when that property went for sale and went for development, there were a lot of frustrations brought to the RTM about removing space from families and those in the neighborhood using that area. So, especially with frustrations where developments are being created for public space in other parts of the town that weren't offered for private development, like in Noank. I just really would like the town council to consider fair treatment of the whole town in picking out these parcels for public space. And if you can't reasonably preserve it totally as a town property, as a park, as a playground, as a field, I would very much encourage that a formal MOU or a formal contract is written and signed and executed between whatever developer in the town. If the developer is promising community benefits, community amenities, that it gets put in writing so that we actually receive those promises once the development is finished, and those kind of accesses, be it a trail around the property or some side space as an open field, is actually left there for the community if it is promised during the development process. So with that, I thank you, and I will yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. And I just wanted to know Councilor Zepari has arrived. So we are at 8 councilors. It is 6:43. Madam Clerk, I only have 2 signed up for the public hearing. Did you have anyone else?
Not for the public hearing?
I'm sorry, did you say not for the public hearing?
Not for the public hearing, but I'll look at the last, nope, not for the public hearing.
Okay, very good.
Just the two.
All right, yes, I think everyone else is signed for other things. All right, since we have no one else signed up to speak for the public hearing, we will close the public hearing on item 2021-103, Pleasant Valley School Property Sale Public Hearing at 6:44. Thank you very much for coming out and speaking. Okay. So we are on now to Roman numeral 5, receipt of citizens' petitions, comments, and concerns. This is the portion of the council meeting where the council welcomes comments from citizens. We don't have a sign-up sheet. You follow the electronic procedure. When you are recognized, clearly state your name and address and speak clearly. Your presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. Presentation should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Town councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and can respond during the responses to citizens' petition portion of the meeting. And we have quite a few people this evening, so bear with me as we go through. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. So it may take me a minute to do this, and I'm going to call in order that we receive the request to speak. So they may not be all on one topic at the same time. So the first person I have on my list is Tim Driscoll, Chief Driscoll, I believe.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Councilors. I'm Timothy Driscoll, Fire Chief of the Paquonic Ridge Fire District, and wanted to address the questions and concerns discussed at the March 30th Town Council Committee of the Whole meeting of the 2 proposed data center sites in the Paquonic Ridge Fire District. Concerns regarding the watershed area are warranted. However, the data centers being discussed under normal conditions would be a much lower risk than most industrial occupancies and a significant lower risk than the existing I-95 corridor that currently runs through the watershed. PBFD protects the entire Groton Utilities watershed and responds to an average of 60 emergencies a year within the watershed boundaries. The watershed is one of the top target hazards due to its significant importance to the community and numerous sources of potential incidents. We have procedures in place for the protection of the watershed, including runoff from the cause of the incident and mitigating operations of an incident. Modern data center fire suppression systems are designed with EPA environmentally rated clean agents. The most common fire suppression agents that meet code and environmental concerns are Novec 1230 and FM200. Both are rated as environmentally clean agents by EPA and cause no ozone depletion. Engineered fire suppression systems are designed to notify the fire department and stop the fire from increasing in size until the fire department arrives to extinguish. There is no mention of PFAS being in Novec 1230 or FM200. The biggest concerns of PFAS with emergency operations would be the use of AFFF foam. Presently, I do not see any hazards that would require the use of AFFF foam at the proposed data centers. We are following Connecticut DEP guidelines on the use of AFFF foam and waiting for the recommendations for an environmentally approved AFFF foam. Fuel storage for backup generators, be it diesel or natural gas, would need to meet all applicable fire codes for fire protection, storage, and proper containment systems to protect from spills or tank failure. Groton London Airport has several similar storage containment systems for its aviation fuel that are very close to the Paquonic River. High voltage, high electricity usage, and its infrastructure are the major risks of fire in a data center. Heavy power loads or a defective piece of equipment can lead to a short circuit or overheating situation. Electrical usage is a constant ignition source for combustible materials such as plastics for wire insulation and imprinted circuit boards. The only way to extinguish an electrical fire is by securing the electrical source as soon as possible. Once the electrical source is secured, the class of material burning dictates the proper method for extinguishing the fire. The infrastructure, which includes extensive cabling, particularly below raised floors, long cable runs, lack of natural ventilation, building construction, and numerous void spaces make firefighting efforts more difficult than a normal commercial building. The fire service incident management priorities are life safety, incident stabilization, and property preservation. These priorities are accomplished by prevention and emergency operations. Prevention starts prior to construction of the occupancy, utilizing all applicable fire codes, and continues after construction with annual fire marshal inspection and enforcement of fire codes. The fire marshal is the only code enforcement agent that is legally responsible to conduct annual inspections of an occupancy for code compliance after a certificate of occupancy has been attained. At PBFD, we're constantly training to complete our mission of protecting the public from all emergencies, natural or man-made. Training and pre-incident planning are paramount for a successful conclusion to all incidents, as each emergency scene is different with ever-changing conditions that dictates our strategy and tactics. Life safety is always our top priority. However, mitigating an incident is based on numerous factors where incident stabilization and property preservation priorities may switch back and forth. The fire department incident commander needs to take every factor into consideration prior to implementing their actions, which may include protecting the surrounding area prior to mitigating the source of an incident. Protecting the watershed, controlling runoff, PFAS, heavy power loads, and backup generator fuel storage are all legitimate concerns regarding the proposed data centers. It is what PBFD does every day, mostly unnoticed. Engineered systems and safeguards can fail. That is why the fire department puts so much time in preparation as the last line of defense regarding environmental concerns. Ironically, these concerns are financial as well for the town and data center operators. A loss, regardless of how it happens, equals lost revenue for the operators and profits. And if that loss affects electrical usage, equals less money for the town. It is my job as a fire chief to conduct a complete risk assessment regarding these and many more concerns, which was started on March 4th when I first learned of the potential centers coming to Groton. Fire Marshal Bednarz has been in contact with other Connecticut fire marshals that have experience with modern data centers in their jurisdiction and reviewing fire codes that pertain strictly to the data centers. PBFD captains are analyzing and reviewing firefighting techniques from case history of incidents in data centers and power plants that have similar hazards. All this information will be used to create training objectives, update existing procedure and guidelines, and address any possible operational needs. This risk assessment will be ongoing as we get more information on the size, location, and associated hazards to prepare us for any potential risks. I will conclude that the proposed data centers are an incredible opportunity for all of Groton. The risk is minimal compared to the majority of industrial occupancies which the property is zoned for and the existing hazards such as I-95. I feel the economic gain with a low environmental risk of the occupancy will make Groton a much safer place to live and visit. For these reasons, I ask the Groton Town Council to approve the data center host municipality fee agreement. Thank you for allowing me to address the council, and have a good night.
Thank you, Chief. Because we have over 20 people wishing to speak tonight, so I would ask that everyone could keep their remarks to the 5 minutes, please. Thank you. Next on our list is J.C. Amboise. And I thought.
Are you going to tell people to unmute, Patrice?
Yeah, I got it.
I needed to do that. I would ask everybody just to keep your mics muted until we either unmute you or we ask you to unmute, please, because there are way too many people in the meeting. So, Mr. Amboise, you have
Yes.
the floor, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is Jean-Claude Amboise. I live on 169 Shenectah Parkway in Groton. I come before you today to inquire about serious concerns that I have regarding the town governance by this body and potential violations of town council rules that coincide with it. On July 24th, 2020, Town Councilor Andre Baumgartner used his personal Facebook account and posted, quote, "The town council is prepared to debate the establishment of a civilian police review board with subpoena power. As chair of this council's public safety committee, I look forward to working with town committee members, Portia Bordelon and Conrad Heed, to draft a comprehensive ordinance that reforms policing policies and establishes a CPRB in support of Black lives." This same, unquote. This same day, Councilor Baumgartner posted on his personal Twitter account to also state, quote, "The Groton Town Council is prepared to debate the establishment of a civilian police review board with subpoena power. As chair of the Town Council's Public Safety Committee, rest assured that our ordinance will perform policing policies and establish a hashtag CPRB in support of hashtag Black Lives Matter," unquote. By using the social media platform in a government capacity, it should be known that the account shall no longer be considered personal based on a recent ACLU statement made in a February 28th article in the New London Day newspaper. This is where the timeline and my questions begin to you as a council. First, were established town council rules violated by a member of this elected body? Unless consent and authorization was given and on record, these social media posts are non-compliant with Town Council Rule number 14, conduct by town councilors. No councilor may speak or give the impression that he or she speaks on behalf of the council without prior council authorization to do so. From my inquiry and research of public record, on July 8th, 2020, the RTM established a Civilian Oversight Research Committee, also called CORC, to research fact-finding, and I quote, research fact-finding institutional organizational models, as well as any legal constraints that are associated with the creation of an independent civilian oversight review board that will be composed of citizen representatives and charged with the investigation and review of complaints by members of the public concerning misconduct by police officers, unquote. As a former RTM moderator, I challenged the formation of this committee, which in my interpretation of the duties of the RTM established by the Groton Town Charter and RTM rules and procedures was improper. I made my concerns known as part of the public record on multiple occasions. The Town Council and Town Council Public Safety Committee should have been the responsibility for this endeavor, as they are the legislative body of the town. The court proceeded to have multiple meetings at taxpayer expense to perform their duties. A few of these meetings were held jointly with the Town Council Public Safety Committee. However, the research and heavy lifting for the final report was done solely by the Civilian Oversight Research Committee. At the December 9th, 2020 RTM regular meeting, the court final report was submitted and accepted by the RTM body by unanimous vote and given to the Town Council. As of today, what has been done by the Town Council Public Safety Committee or Town Council, what has been done by the Town Council Public Safety Committee or Town Council in regard to this report? Cork recommended a police and community together pact group similar to what City of Groton Mayor Keith Hedrick and the City Council proactively spearheaded and swiftly established on July 6, 2020. This group has met regularly to address social justice issues and create increased communications through community policing and outreach. Further research led me to February 4th, 2021, which was the only Town Council Public Safety Committee meeting held 2 months after the court report was sent to the Town Council. As I looked for the recorded meeting minutes, there was still none to be found as of today, April 6, 2021. Where are they? I inquired to both the town clerk and town manager's office to discover none were filed by Chairman Bumgardner. Based on FOIA rules as well as Town Council rules, meeting minutes.
1 minute, sir.
Yep, I got you. As Town Council rules, meeting minutes should be completed in a timely manner. It's 2 months later, timely? I doubt it. RTM rules require meeting minutes to be delivered no later than 6 days after the meeting. Perhaps the chairman had other pressing priorities that distracted him from his obligation as a member of this committee to do so. However, this is still a violation of Town Council Rule 10A. All committee meetings should be in compliance with FOIA. Lastly, after all the rhetorical bluster on social media from 256 days ago by the chairman of the Town Council Public Safety Committee, what have you, Councilor Bumgardner, or the rest of the Town Council done for Black lives in the town of Groton aside from marching in parades? Where is the ordinance or anything that court committee handed you wrapped in a bow to act upon? As a Black man, I am confident in saying absolutely nothing. These statements from last year amount to pure political pandering, while the lack of follow through and your unfulfilled promise is glaringly apparent. We as a diverse community deserve better. I respectfully request that the Town Council refer these matters I presented to the Town Council Rules and Procedures Committee to investigate these multiple rules violations in a meeting as soon as possible in the spirit of transparency to the public. Rules should apply to all and not to some, especially if you are in or seeking elected office. True leadership requires leading by good example. Thank you very much. I've also attached comments and citations in this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Janet Mayer. Let's see.
Hi, thank you very much.
Hello, hi. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Janet Mayer. I live at 88 Ann Avenue, Mystic, Connecticut. We would like to express our opposition to the proposed Mystic Bluffs development. A 931-unit complex, along with commercial space, large garage, and hotel, is simply too big for the area. We wondered, where around us is there a development anywhere near this size or scale? What are the long-term unintended costs of such a massive development? Do we really know? Many of our Mystic Groton neighbors are still unaware of the development plans. Only now that a plan appears to be decided on do we get a public survey. A survey by Great Blue Research, a company whose mission statement given on its website proclaims that they craft compelling strategy with custom market research. Let me repeat, craft compelling strategy. We received a call from Great Blue Research and found the questions to be leading and clearly meant to shape public opinion, not ascertain it. The survey did ask how we felt about the development, but then quickly went on to ask about the Performing Arts Center and pool. What's not to like? But it's not so simple. On the developer's site, we found wording like will be considered, are generally aware, to be designed, and as currently conceived. Obviously, there will be nodes given a development of this magnitude, and that is exactly why this scares us. Has Groton done its due diligence? What will this mean for the already highly trafficked and dangerous Cow Hill Road and sewer and water of the surrounding communities? Who will conduct the infrastructure studies? What guarantees do we have as taxpayers that this development will be successful, that the recreation facilities will be finished? We just recently became aware of other development proposals for this site. We had a difficult time finding them. We could enthusiastically endorse the Village at Mystic Ridge proposal, which includes a more reasonable size of 84 residential homes and 108 apartment units, and also includes the recreation facilities. We also noticed that the Mystic River Bluff proposal paperwork was missing the anti-kickback acknowledgement and non-collusion affidavit that the other development proposals included in their paperwork. Would it be possible for the town council to provide us with this important documentation for the Mystic Bluffs proposal as well? And finally, we have serious concerns about tax increment financing, which the developer has stated is necessary for this project. To be honest, we didn't understand what TIF was until a few weeks ago. We will tell you, what we learned is that it's complicated, controversial, and can be very costly to communities. Let me read you just a few headlines about TIF we found online. Does tax increment financing really work? Usually no. And The Trouble with TIF, both by Bloomberg. A primer on TIF, why it's controversial, Sierra Club. TIF, a mythical pot of gold for local government, Vincent Crusoe, Community Manager, Illinois Policy. In the article, Why Tax Increment Financing Often Fails and How Communities Can Do Better, Will Jason of the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy references a publication, Improving Tax Increment Financing for Economic Development by the University of Chicago professor David Merriman, which reviewed more than 30 studies of TIF over several decades, concluding that in most cases, TIF has not accomplished the goal of promoting economic development. We also urge you to search school districts suing over TIF. You will find numerous articles. Am I up to 5? No. Okay, no, sorry. Good. Okay. In the article, Managing the Risks of Increment Financing, Matt Dragney and Stafford Rosenblum, they write, most of the risks of TIF projects stem from the risk of anticipated private development will fall short of expectations. If the anticipated tax revenue fails to materialize, then without adequate safeguards, taxpayers are left paying the bill. In an article in the Indianapolis Business Journal titled Study, TIF Districts Divert Millions from Community, cites a Ball State University study. According to the study, which analyzed the impact of TIF districts from 2003 to 2013, TIF districts are diverting millions of dollars from other taxing units that normally would receive the revenue, such as schools, libraries and other services. Given the enormous size of this development, the many unknowns, the possible unseen costs to taxpayers, and the risks involved with TIF financing, we strongly recommend that the Groton Town Council withdraws its support for this plan and chooses a development plan that would benefit Groton. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Next, I have Anthony Caporelli.
Yeah, here, Madam Mayor.
Hello.
Hi, I'm going to keep this short. Anthony Caparelli, 7 Isham Street. I'm here to speak regarding the Mystic Bluffs redevelopment plan for the Mystic Education Center. In support of the project, I feel that the plan on balance will be beneficial to the town and the surrounding area. Specifically, the municipal assets the town would realize as a result of this plan, such as the theater and the recreational center, are very unique and very valuable attributes of the development proposal being considered. As an off-Broadway producer myself and a Mystic resident, I strongly believe that the theater could position Mystic as a leader in the performing arts, not just within the immediate eastern coastal region, but within the entire state of Connecticut. And I'd like to emphasize that now, perhaps more than at any other time in recent history, the preservation and utilization of theater spaces is critical to the cultural health of towns and cities. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, councilors.
Thank you, sir. And next we have Raylene St. Pierre.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Did we lose?
Oh, she's muted.
There you go. Ms. St. Pierre?
Yes.
Okay. Go. Why don't you start over because I think you ended up muted.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
My name is Raylene St. Pierre. I live at 118 Hatch Street in Mystic, Connecticut. I am calling in support of the Mystic River Bluff project, in particular the performing arts and arts in Groton / Mystic. In particular, as a former professional dancer and a former ballroom dance studio owner, I believe that there is just such a need for more performing arts in this local area. As someone who has ridden my bike many, many times up into the Mystic Oral School area in my leisure, it is such a large development that I believe needs to be brought back to life for the community at large. And I believe that it would bring so much more money into the area. I am sensitive and sympathize greatly with residents who may object to the development, although that area was in development for many years, and it's a huge parcel of land that should be given back to the town, and we should be able to reap the benefits of that development. I just feel that we could be a leader in performing arts and theater in general, and I wholly support the project. I'll yield back my time, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on the list, I have Chris Anino. Mr. Anino? Yep.
I'm going to promote him to panelist. 1 second, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Should be there any second now.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Anino. You have the floor, sir.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, I'm definitely for the Mystic Education Center in regards to the both theater and performing arts.
Mr. Anino, could you state your name, your address for the record, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. 68 Village Lane, Groton, Connecticut.
Thank you. You go ahead, sir.
Sure. Thank you. I'm definitely for the development there for the Mystic Art Center, Education Center right there. Performing arts. I'm with the New England Music Hall of Fame right now. And about last week, we had a meeting in West Haven, and we had half of Johnny Winter's band there, as well as several Grammy Award-winning artists. And we all spoke about this, and I showed them the petition. I showed them what what could be done, and they all are on board with potentially being regulars here and even bringing in some major acts. And like what numerous other people mentioned before, that this could be a central location for entertainment, and it would be good for the local economy. And that area right there, it's a little bit squished, but I do believe that within reason, this could be successful for everyone. Not much happens in the wintertime, and it's pretty dead. And this could be a reason for people to get out, especially during these rather depressing times. But that's pretty much it. I'm just in support for it, and I hope everyone else will consider it. And I do believe that we could all work together on it as well, especially if we can even show films there or do anything with the performing arts, or even education. So, but that's about it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Next is Genevieve Cerf.
Okay, I've unmuted.
Thank you. You have the floor, ma'am.
Okay. I did not prepare anything written. I have a few notes, that's all, because.
Could you give your name and address for the record?
Oh, sorry, Genevieve Cerf, 6 Pearl Street, Mystic.
Thank you.
Former town councilor for a while, which a job shared with Patrice. And, and I was on the RTM for 3 terms. So I have quite a bit of experience going back almost 20 years now on all the different projects that we've taken into consideration in town. And the one thing that I really would like to make really clear is all that experience that I've had, and I was on all these committees for, rejuvenating downtown Groton, for the Flanders Road project of running water and utilities up there, on the Tilcon property, which was this giant quarry, which there was a big fracas about because those who wanted to buy it, Groton Open Space Association, and many people felt it would be a lovely development until we finally figured out 6 months later that it was a solid piece of granite and therefore very hard. It would be almost impossible to run infrastructure through there. It's a lot of that is a problem in Groton. It's either all hard as granite or wet as Mystic River and Long Island Sound and wetlands and the watershed, everything that we have. It's not easy to build in Groton. So, all these wonderful projects in theory, I was for this kind of mixed use development. But this project is just, for one thing, way too big and way too undefined, in my opinion, right now. And this is really dangerous. When we did the Mystic Streetscape, for instance, with government money at the time, but Mystic is built on a bunch of stilts. And it turned out to be incredibly complicated to do the Mystic Streetscape. The contractor, I think, almost went broke. The town almost got into trouble because we couldn't sort our way out of finishing it. Thank God there was a lot of cooperation and we did finish it. The utilities up Flanders Road, that never worked out. We spent a year studying that to discover that the $10 million that we would have to spend on running those utilities up Flanders Road, we would never get back in taxes. So there are all these considerations. And another property that I wanted to mention was the industrial park next to the Marriott, which the town spent quite a lot of money on, helping to put infrastructure in there. And the owner ended up never doing anything with it, and it's still sitting there completely unused. So these sorts of projects are full of pitfalls, and I don't see that this project was really nailed down enough because it's so big. First of all, I do think it's too big, but I think it, the whole process by which it happened, all of a sudden we turn around. First, it was just kind of an idea, and now we turn around and it's a done deal and the developer is about to break ground. Well, I really think that's not right. I mean, there just wasn't enough publicizing of this. When I look at the plans, and as I said, I've only been back from from a trip for 3 months. I only been back for a week and I managed to break my leg. So I haven't had time to do thorough homework. I will send you all an email with more details. But when I looked at the plan, I don't see phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I don't see specifically laid out a guarantee that the developer will in fact redevelop the Pratt building with a swimming pool and whatever. I don't see that that has to be absolutely nailed in, because look what Pfizer did to New London. You know, they gave them all these tax breaks for what, 5 years?
Remaining.
Yeah, and they gave them, and then the minute their tax breaks were over, Pfizer left. So it ended up costing New London money. So I'm not trying to be a wet towel here, because generally I appreciate what John has done in trying to bring mixed use zoning to Groton. And I think I would have loved to have seen it happen in downtown Groton, where it would have been really great to have mixed use zoning down there. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, although I think we should keep plugging away at it. But in this particular spot, such a large development, you know, with the wetlands and the granite and the you know, I dread the thought of anybody getting the idea that they're going to put another road down to River Road, because you know, that would be absolutely disastrous. Allen Street is bad enough. In other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is, of my experience of watching projects come and go and be, you know, successful or not here, it's always the small projects in Groton which have been successful, and where people have collaborated and worked with the environmental people and worked with the developers and the owners and all that to come up with something that everybody really agrees on. I don't think enough work has been done into this to nail it down much more exactly what is going to happen when, who's in favor of what and when, whether we can put the brakes on at some point. If we don't like phase 1, can we stop phase 2, or are we going to get screwed
up? I'm sorry.
So could you, I'm going to write a letter asking to answer all those questions, okay?
Thank you. That would be great.
But I hope you take all these things seriously into consideration, otherwise we're going to get really burnt.
Thank you very much. Next, we have John Waller, and I just saw Mr. Waller.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is John Waller, and I live at 116 Godfrey Road in Mystic. Madam Mayor, members of the council, I come before you, as I have several times in the past, to voice my strong support for the Mystic River Bluffs development project. Tonight, I just wanted to take the opportunity to dispel a few myths that have been brought up against the project. And first, as Ms. Cerf just was kind of railing against, I just want to point out that this project hasn't been finalized. There are no actual applications pending, and I think that all of the opposition and support for this project hopefully are not falling on deaf ears, and that our friends, I like to think that the Restler homes who are working on this are taking all these things that we're saying into consideration while they're preparing the proposal that they are going to eventually present. But I live 1 mile from the property, and I understand that those neighbors who live adjacent and closer to the Mystic Education Center property have legitimate concerns. So I'd like to address a few items that have been raised. Point 1 is just north of Oral School Road on Cowhill Road, immediately after the traffic light, there are 10 consecutive multifamily housing units, approximately 40 units in total. It's certainly not a pristine residential setting. And what I just detailed are multifamily residences in the direct vicinity. Mystic River Bluffs obviously is considerably more than 40-ish units. However, there is a precedent for multifamily housing in this section of the town. And this property was initially a mixed-use setting, housing and schooling all in one. And once the Oral School closed, it again remained a mixed-use property, this time with commercial use of the school building and the town's use of the Pratt building for recreational purposes. This property never was intended to remain derelict for so long. It was meant to be a living part of the town. And in regards to noise and privacy, I do want to point out that the neighbors on Boulder Court and Lower Oral School Road, they actually live adjacent to Interstate 95. And I'm quite certain that the constant noise that the cars and trucks that are traveling at all hours of the day and night will be greater than any noise coming from Mystic River Bluffs. And finally, a similar sized development are the 3 apartment complexes off of Drosdick Drive. Between the 3, La Triomphe, Wyndham Estates, and the Ledges, there are approximately 900 units of condensed housing in this single point in the town. There's a single road that comes in and goes out, Drosdick Drive, and I've never experienced any traffic issues. Now, I know that Cow Hill Road has its issues, but I do believe as part of the project, fixing the interchanges at the 2 traffic lights would certainly address a lot of that. And the majority of the traffic would be heading straight down 95 or down Allen Street. So again, I want to express my strong support for the project, in particular for the theater auditorium at Mystic River Bluffs and the recreational opportunities that are there. And I want to encourage anybody listening to go to the Recreation Department's website and find the survey that was referred to earlier. Please take it and let the town and everybody know your opinion on both the project and the use of the auditorium of the Pratt buildings for the future. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Representative Katowski.
Thank you. Roseanne Katowski, 24 Ann Avenue, RTM District 5. Before I start, I just want to tell Mr. Waller that 240 Oral School Road is not a mixed use piece of property. It's zoned RU80. So just to clarify that. Okay, let me start my comments. During the March meeting, there were untrue comments and statements regarding the selection committee for the Mystic Oral School proposal. Since there is only opportunity for town council public comment once a month, tonight I hope to correct the record regarding the statements from the March 2nd, 2021 town council meeting. In the meeting, a town councilor stated that the selection committee meetings for the Mystic Oral School proposal were held in public. This is not true. There were no selection committee public meetings for the Mystic Oral School proposal. The meetings were all held in executive session. If the meetings were held in public, there would be agendas and minutes from the meetings. There are no agendas or minutes because the meetings were not held in public. Please contact town staff for verification. Also, the counselor stated that there was an RTM member on the selection committee for the Mystic Oral School proposal. This is not true. Please ask the town manager or the mayor if any RTM members requested to be on the committee. Then ask how they responded. It is not true that there was an RTM member on the Mystic Oral School proposal selection committee. Please contact the town manager or the mayor for verification. Again, the same counselor stated that there was a public hearing for the Mystic Oral School proposal. This is also not true. There was no public hearing. Why? Because there can be no public hearing until the Planning and Zoning Commission writes the regulations for the property and the regulations have not been written yet. Please contact the Planning and Zoning Commission or town staff for verification. It is unfortunate that the town councilors and or the town mayor did not correct the record regarding these untrue statements regarding the Mystic Oral School proposal at the March meeting. Why is the truth important? Because we rely on the town council for accurate information regarding the Mystic Oral School proposal and all town business. Also, Groton residents who are new to or unfamiliar with the Mystic Oral School proposal controversy have the right to hear truthful information from the town council. The comments and statements in March were not true. As I have repeatedly stated for the past 5 years, at every possible opportunity to the town council, the RTM, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and recently the EDC, this mega development project is not a good project for the community, the towns, and for the Mystic Oral School property. It is too dense, too large, and does not fit into the character of the neighborhood at all. Town elected officials, volunteers, and staff need to move forward with and support projects that are appropriate and good for the community. I have taken the time to bring this to your attention because I know that the town council, like all of us, believes that it is important to have the truth known to the public regarding the Mystic Oral School proposal and all town business. For the record, I am requesting clarification for the statements made at the March Town Council meeting regarding the Mystic Oral School proposal. Thank you.
Okay, next on the list, we have Representative Bruce Flax, please. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
My name is Bruce Flax. I reside at 632 Noank Road in Mystic. I'm speaking as a resident of Mystic and also as the Executive Director of the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce in support of the data center host municipality fee agreement, which I think is on your docket for this evening. Data centers store, process, protect, and distribute information that enables our daily need to stay connected, informed, productive, and entertained. Data centers build jobs, and this one will create union jobs and several permanent positions when completed. They also comply with the rigorous regulations and permits required to enforce all environmental protection, workplace safety, and labor standards, as well as requirements they will negotiate in their host community agreements. Data centers are energy efficient buildings. Governor Ned Lamont and the state legislature have given Connecticut the competitive edge in New England to harness the job creating, revenue generating power of the clean, highly skilled, high growth data economy. Please allow Groton to take the next step. I request that you please support the town to enter into said qualified data host municipality fee agreement. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Rebecca Welt. Let's see. I see Robert Welt. I don't see Rebecca. Rebecca Welt? Are you with Robert Welt, perhaps? I don't have addresses to know. There's different phone numbers, though, so I'm not sure. Rebecca Welt? Okay, let's go on to Robert Welt, please.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can, sir. Thank you.
Rebecca is not with me.
Okay, thank you. You have the floor, sir.
I would like to start by thanking all of you for the volunteer hours you're putting in as town councilors. I once served in a town board, and I know how much time it takes, especially during budget season. I also know that while one hears much criticism, one doesn't often hear thank you. While I don't always agree with your decisions, I am grateful for your service to the town. What I'd like to address tonight are the plans for the oral school. Simply stated, it's the wrong size in the wrong place. To build 931 housing units in the northeast corner of the town will have a serious and deleterious impact, not just on the surrounding neighborhoods, but on all the eastern portion of Groton. Please reconsider your support for the rest of the proposal. I'd also like to speak about the Great Blue Survey, to which I responded on the phone not long ago. That survey was skewed towards acceptance of the RESPLA plan. There was one question regarding the overall project, which was couched in terms of how wonderful it would be. The other questions all dealt with the Pratt building. There was no option to say bulldoze it, if the building can ever be renovated. Mr. Respel has stated the mechanics would only be good for about 20 years, and the upkeep and maintenance would be the town's responsibility. That doesn't sound like such a great deal. Quite frankly, I'm bothered by the fact that my tax money was used to pay for such a one-sided survey. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Welt. Next on the list, we have Scott Westervelt. I think I saw Mr. Westervelt. Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are, sir. You have the floor. Thank you.
Could I ask to take my turn in a minute or two because I got called out on an emergency and I'll be on the call, but I wanted to get off the car radio so it doesn't make a lot of noise. So could you take someone else and come back to me?
Yes, I'll come back to you at the end then, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next, we have Catherine Pratt. Ms. Pratt?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
You have the floor.
Yes, thank you. My name is Catherine Pratt, and I live at 75 Front Street in Noank. Mayor Granatowski and members of the Town Council, I respectfully urge you to reconsider your support for the development proposed by Ressler Homes for the site of the former Mystic Oral School. The reasons to oppose this project are many, but tonight I would like to raise the issues of funding and transparency. The Ressler plan for a massive mixed-use development in a rural residential area is eliciting great concern. The town's response to this concern has been the vague assurance that everything is preliminary and nothing has been decided. In fact, a lot has been decided. When the proposal was finally unveiled at a public meeting, the purchase and sale agreement between the state of Connecticut and Ressler Homes had already been signed. The development agreement between the town of Groton and Ressler Homes, signed on February 11th, obligates the town to collaborate with a private developer on a project of enormous scale and expense, with major aspects all, presumably, to be funded through the establishment of a tax increment financing district. TIF-funded items will include roads, public utilities, a parking garage, and the rehabilitation, renovation, hazardous building materials abatement, and environmental remediation of the Oral School building, the Pratt building, and other buildings, as well as additional unspecified projects to be undertaken by the developer. Ressler has said that TIF financing will be necessary for the project to proceed, but according to town officials quoted in local papers, a TIF district has not yet been presented to the town council, nor has the council negotiated a credit enhancement agreement. This is worrisome, given that the 2015 Public Act amending the TIF statutes now allows towns to issue general obligation bonds backed by the full faith and credit of the town to fund TIF projects. Is this how the town plans to subsidize Mystic River Bluffs? By creating a TIF district and issuing general obligation bonds that are payable from the grand levy and secured by the full faith and credit pledge of the town of Groton? It is a sad commentary that this project got as far as it did without open public debate, or even, apparently, without debate within the channels of government. Why were the responses to the town's request for proposals withheld from the Planning and Zoning Commission? The issue of the proper government process for the implementation of the goals of economic development must be reviewed and addressed to restore the public trust. Thank you for your consideration of these matters.
Thank you, Ms. Pratt. We have next Wanda Tillman. Beth Tillman. Ms. Tillman.
Can you now hear me?
Yes, thank you so much. You have the floor.
Good evening. I am Wanda Beth Tillman, 925 River Road in Mystic. We all knew it was a matter of time before some sort of project would be proposed for the Mystic Oral School. But since it was an RU 80 zoned area, never in our wildest imaginings of any of us who live around the property did we dream that initially 750 housing units would be proposed. I had to be gone with my husband for cancer treatments for 6 months, and I came back to discover that we have now raised this target goal to 931 units. And also there is now a hotel proposed. The parking garage has gone from 400 car spaces to 700. What I see is a huge public safety debacle. We have narrow roads everywhere around this particular piece of property. When I take what the developer thinks would be the number of cars in and out of this property on a daily basis, it so far exceeds anything that was ever planned for this area as to be almost inconceivable. If you take just a 1.5 of the 931 apartments, that means we'd be adding 1,396.5 individuals to this part of the town. Mystic on that side of the river, from what I could determine from the zip code designations and the census, has only about 3,879 people. So we're talking in one fell swoop that we would increase the number of residents by almost 40%. When you look at the traffic survey that was done on Cow Hill Road very recently, and you see that there were 4,666 cars that pass by the northern end of Cow Hill on a daily basis. If you add another, how many cars? We don't know. I mean, my conjecture at 1.5, I think, is very low. And with a hotel and all of the custodial grounds people and all of that, we're talking probably twice a day, 2,000 additional vehicles passing through the roads around the oral school area. It just won't work. It just won't work. And then you look at the closest grocery store, you either have to pop up onto 95 to get to it, or you have to go around the head of the river to get to it. Neither of those options has enough capacity to be able to take care of the numbers of people who would be resident in this facility. Then you look at all of the insufficiencies of the sewer system around there. The people below the oral school property talk about overflow constantly. What kinds of money, and we all know that sewer projects are unbelievably expensive, what sorts of money is the town going to have to throw to the sewer? Because the developer has said that's our problem. The developer has said the roads are our problem. The developer has said a lot of things are the town's problem. When last I was in a meeting prior to COVID, when he spoke, they were anticipating only $3.5 million into the coffers of the town of Groton. I can assure you, with all of the infrastructure spending that we are going to have to do, that 3.5 is just not even going to begin to
have 1 minute, Ms. Tillman.
Anything that we have to do to subsidize this property. If there is, and I've just heard this tonight, a new road put down to River, a new road from the development down to River Road, we can barely pass on River Road already with the number of hikers, bikers, walkers, you name it. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. The boat launch, again, would draw so many additional people, it would be horrible. The incidence of trespass and hunting would increase, and trespass and hunting illegally are already a huge issue. I just can't begin to see where the electrical powers come from either, and where are the new high power lines going to be positioned? Whose property is going to be taken to run these extremely deleterious electrical lines, which...
Ms. Tillman, your time is up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your hearing me.
Thank you. Before we go on with the next people, I need a couple of people that are here as attendees to identify themselves, please. So the person who has their hand up that is just showing as a question mark, could you please identify yourself?
That may be me, Rebecca Well. I raised my hand when you couldn't see me before.
Excellent. Yes, we could not see you before. Thank you.
Okay.
You. And then we have someone on 860-655-0418. If you could identify yourself, please, on the phone, ending in 0418. Could you please identify yourself?
Hi, Madam Mayor. It's Eric Callahan.
Thank you, sir. All right, so let's go back to our list. So we are on to Bob Pia. I believe Mr. Pia is here. Yes. Mr. Pia?
Yeah, can you hear me, Madam?
Yes, thank you very much.
I just want to speak a little bit to the Oral School Road project. And I know that, you know, we all want to do better for Groton and we want to increase our tax revenues and make sure that we do the proper development in the area. But I've lived on Oral School Road for many years. The only one's probably been here before I was here was Bobby Welt. And I will just tell you that I don't know if you've been up and down our road, but I live on 105 Oral School Road, Mystic, Connecticut. And that section of road has the two big walls where you can just about get one car through it. Now, I want everyone to understand this. What makes me nervous about the whole project is phase 1, 2, and 3. First of all, I've heard enough about the building, and I've been around this area since I've been a kid. I played with these kids. I probably spent more time on this road than anyone, but Bobby was here before I was. I'm 65 years old. I know for a fact that that building has problems that they're talking about revamping and having this glorious pool and amphitheater. And as far as entertainment in the area, with the COVID thing going on, I'm so glad those people brought that up because I'm a local musician and they're starving. I was doing it when I first retired from the phone company for quite a few years, and I've done it since I've been a teenager. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Guard Theater has a hard time making ends meet, and you have entertainment being brought in already by the casinos. You cannot even compete with those folks. They have connections beyond belief in the musical industry. The other thing is the amount of traffic that you're talking about putting on these roads. If they're trying to put a 200 unit up there first as a phase 1 project, what do they plan for using for egress? I mean, the existing road, you put all that traffic on that road. I mean, where's the deal come in where they build a road and revamp the oral school and build an amphitheater for you to have all this supposed entertainment? Where's that all coming from? I don't see being a 30-year veteran in the phone company, building infrastructure in Groton, Colonial Manor, Branford Manor, the whole 9 yards. The only thing I see here is a developer getting over on the town, putting in 200 units. If it goes good, of course you're going to go with the project. But if it doesn't, going to dump a mess on the town. And what are you going to do with the road? Those are my questions, I guess, Mayor. And the other thing I meant to bring up before I leave, they talk about the boat launch. I've been boating here since I've been 12 years old. And the Mystic River used to get marked all the way up to the Old Mystic Marina, which was on way up in Old Mystic. It doesn't exist anymore. It's all multi-million-dollar houses. That channel doesn't get marked past the last ice cream place in Mystic on the Stonington side by the Coast Guard because it's not recognized. And if you don't know it, it's not very big. They show, they're showing people in sailboats and all kinds of watercraft. I just can't imagine 300 kayaks in the Mystic River surrounding the seaport and seeing those folks being very happy downtown and all around. I don't know if they realize what they're in for. And I'd really like to bring that to your attention. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next we have Lisa Giordano, and I thought I saw Ms. Giordano.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
She did send something in the chat that she will submit her comments in writing and take her name off the speakers list.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Councilor Parker. Okay, very good. So the clerk can get that to us as it is received. So then we are on to Phil Biondo. Mr. Biondo?
Thank you. My name is Phil Biondo. I actually live in Stonington, Connecticut, but I was asked to speak, and I'm offering my support for the data center host agreement project that's being proposed in Groton. I had a chance to, in doing a little research, I had a chance to reach out to another data center community in New Albany, Ohio, and actually spoke to the development director of community development. Because they have a very large data center in which they host Google, Facebook, Amazon Web Services. And I asked her name is Jennifer Chrysler, on the pros and cons of their data center project and what it brought to their community. She spoke very highly in terms of the ongoing construction projects. It continues, it's being built over a number of years, and the construction projects that has been brought to the community. And in addition to the permanent jobs, but she also went on to add that she sees it as a benefit to a community such as hers, as well as Groton, that helps diversify where we have Electric Boat, we have Pfizer, we have the subbase, but she sees it as an attraction for other tech jobs that would be coming to the area. So she had also mentioned that they are very good stewards in the community, providing assistance in capital improvement projects, as well as grants toward community projects that they see worthy and directed projects. And I guess their biggest benefit, they say, is that, you know, with relatively low impact to their infrastructure, they see it as a large benefit going forward, especially for the tax benefits that it would provide after their tax abatements run out. So she spoke very, very highly of the impact and the positive impact it had in the community, in their community. And I could see it similarly happening to Groton. And as it pertains to bringing more construction and development projects and adding to the tax base of the region, I see it nothing but a positive for the community, and hope that the town of Groton sees it as such and can vote favorably for the host as a host community for this project. So I thank you very much for hearing me, even though I'm not a resident of Groton, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next person I have on the list is Sally Booth. I'm not seeing Ms. Booth on the list. Mr. Burt, do you see Ms. Booth on the list?
I do not, and I've not seen her throughout the evening.
Okay, thank you. So then we will circle back to Ms. Welt. Rebecca Welt?
I'm here.
Hi, you have the floor, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Rebecca Welt from 32 Boulder Court in Mystic. Thank you for the work that you do on the council. I know that these meetings can be very long and that they are just the tip of the iceberg in terms of your workload. I'm speaking today to express my continued concern over the proposed development at the Mystic Oral School. The sheer size of it alone is grossly out of proportion with the surrounding area. The impact on traffic, the environment, and the community will be more harmful than beneficial. I worry that we are paying too high a price for the theoretical gift of the renovated Pratt building. The survey that went out from Great Blue Research was essentially a push-poll. The questions seemed to have been written with one goal in mind: to turn the voters' attention to the possibility of a theater, a rec center, even a pool at the Pratt building, and away from the enormous impact that such a mega development will have on the area. The Pratt building was closed decades ago because it was crumbling away. I think it's extremely short-sighted to sell the community on a promise from a developer that simply may not be possible. The extensive renovations that will be needed, if the building can be salvaged at all, come at the price of allowing this massive project to proceed. Do develop the oral school property, but please make it a thoughtful, appropriate development and not the grandiose behemoth currently proposed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see Ms. Booth has arrived. So Sally Booth, you may have the floor, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you very much.
I actually didn't ask to speak. I just asked to listen in because I'm trying to inform myself about this big development. I'm quite interested in this, and I think it's really important that you have public meetings about it. So thank you very much. I am worried about the extensive size of this.
Could you state your address for the record, please? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No trouble. My name is Sally Booth. I live at 46 Pearl Street. The size of it seems quite extensive. And if the earlier speaker, Beth Tillman, was correct that it will increase population by 40% of Mystic, that is something definitely to be considered very carefully before we move forward. Thank you very much for your service to the community. I look forward to learning more about this, and I'm glad you're having open hearings about it. I hope you continue.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to circle back to Mr. Westervelt. Are you, you are here, Mr. Westervelt. Are you ready to present, sir? We're at the end of public comment. Mr. Westervelt?
Yes, ma'am, I am prepared. Your timing is perfect.
You have the floor, sir. If you could just give your name and address, please. Thank you. I think we lost you. Can you hear us, sir? Mr. Westervelt? Give it another second or two. Mr. Westervelt, can you hear? We lost you. Hello? Mr. Westervelt. Okay. His call must have dropped. So that is all that I have on my list. Mr. Burt or Madam Clerk, do you have anyone else?
I do not.
Okay.
You've covered everyone unless Mr. Westervelt is coming back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just looking to see. It looks like he dropped completely. He indicated he was in his vehicle, so that could be, he might have lost his signal. All right, so then we're going to close out the citizens petitions. We gave it a good try to get to everybody. So at this point, we are on to responses to citizens petitions, comments, and concerns. Councilor Franco, you have the floor.
Thank you. I took notes during comments, and I just wanted to try and go through some of these very quickly. I've been working on some open space initiatives over by William Sealy, Pleasant Valley neighborhood area. I have had numerous discussions with the town manager related to this endeavor, and the town is looking into internal choices that they may be able to deal with. And depending on some responses I receive, I may even bring a referral forward. So thank you. The TIF, there is no bonding when it comes to the TIF. These were questions that we had asked thoroughly by the town council, and that's not in our plan. And I'm sure the planning department and economic development can speak further on that. And we had meetings regarding those in depth. We have a TIF plan in place in downtown Groton and over in Groton City. The Mystic Education Center is not a done deal. This is the beginning stages. It's basically like a rendering at the moment. And from what I'm constantly being told, this is the very early stages, and we brought it forward to the community. And usually this doesn't even come to the community until after it goes through other processes. But as a town council and as a town, we wanted to bring it to our community in the very early stages. I would like to have more public engagement with the community regarding developments and new initiatives. Although we have had many public meetings pre-COVID, I would encourage the town manager to engage our planning and economic development departments along with the developers to engage more with our community, because tonight I've heard a lot of things, but I know some of these are just not factually true. So I want the education to get out there to answer these questions for our community, so they fully understand what is actually going on. The survey at the town council, I was actually the one who made the motion for the survey, because this was a park and rec discussion debate between the council, And it was whether we should put in a theater or we should use it as a different space that the rec department wanted it. So there was great debate, and to choose which one, we said, well, I had said, let the community decide. And so the survey was supposed to be about, did you want a theater there, or would you like, you know, what the rec department wanted? And I think the question was added to say, what do you think about the site to be overall by, I'm not exactly sure who put that question there, but I think that was just added in to just get a feel for it when we did put it out a survey. I don't think it was supposed to be leading anywhere. I think it was, the intent was, do you want a theater or do you want the rec space? So I hope your thoughts on that, you know, could be clarified a little bit and understand where that came from. And that was all done during council, and it was all camera and you could watch it. And so that's what I have to add to that. But I hear you, I hear everything you're saying, and I'm really encouraging the town manager that we could possibly get more education to our community and understanding and conversations and questions and answers. And thank you all for coming out.
Thank you. Councillor Obrey, you have the floor.
You're on mute.
You're muted, Councillor Obrey. You're still muted. You're muted. Councillor Obrey, we can't hear you. There you go. Thank you.
I do better when I'm muted. I wanted to thank the people that came and spoke with us this evening. I wish some of them who spoke so eloquently would volunteer a little time to the town. I'm sure it would be to the greatness of Groton. A couple of things, if I basically the same as Councilor Franco, I think we're getting the horse, you know, the cart in front of the horse. We've got a long ways to go with this project. There's several committees that it has to go through. And the appropriate people are going to be asking a lot of questions and trying to make this appropriate for our area. I have a concern, as do most of you, that, you know, we never know exactly what's going to happen with a project. So I have talked with planning and the town manager and our group about bonding for different parts of it as we go forward. That's a very good protection to the town. And I'm sure that those things will be woven into it as we go forward. But we really are judging by not what's going to be the final project. And it's good that we hear that you have concerns about it. Maybe makes us do our job a little bit better. But I think we need to slow down, not listen to, well, this one said, or this one said, because there really isn't a lot being said until that project comes in for approval. So I would just ask you for patience, because this is a long ways from ever putting a shovel in the ground. I took quite a few notes as you were talking. And I will tell you, as chair of the Rules Committee, I will, as soon as we finish the budget, take on the request that was made tonight. And we'll probably have to make some modifications in order to do that, but we will do that in some manner. And I think that's the main thing, but I was listening, and this will come together in the right manner, but it is good for Groton, and we'll certainly depend on our different committees that it's going to be going to and following along with it, and then coming to a good decision as a council. Thank you very much. I yield the floor.
Thank you. Councillor Bordelon, you have the floor.
Thank you. First, I just want to thank everyone for coming out and speaking. I too wish there were more nights available for public comment. Once a month is not enough. I agree. I definitely heard the concerns. I do agree in a lot of aspects on, looking at the density, the location, and the size. I definitely will be keeping my eye on that and considering, there is a lot at stake as far as there's still more to the story to come as to how this will all work or fit or not work. As far as the Pratt building goes, I also think it will increase traffic as well because people will be going up there to use the Pratt building. And I do have my concerns about the traffic in that area. So definitely about the age of the building as well as what the contract will look like if the company was to pull out of there, and what will we be left with if we move all of our recreation in there and we're leasing a building. So I long-term investment, it'd be great to have a spot that was ours. But I do agree the amenities would be nice. So as far as the data center, I think it was really nice for Mr. Driscoll to speak about what some of the concerns were and the things that could be done to mitigate any problems and looking at the drinking water and the environmental aspect. So I do thank you for sharing your support and concerns as to how it needs to be and can be done in a way that will protect us all. So I really do appreciate that. And I have the notes here, and I will keep, please feel free to email or send any comments out. In regards to Jean-Claude Ambloise, JC, I also am on that public safety committee. I kind of took it kind of personal in the sense as a Black female with my minority sons. I have been advocating way before I got on the RTM several years ago and before the council to talk about racial injustice as well as making sure we had a diverse hiring to the point of a nauseum where people say, not again. So I'm only one person. I can only do so much, but to say that this council is not looking into it at all, I believe that we are, and I definitely can speak for myself that I am, and I constantly looking at minority recruiting, bilingual ballots, to the point where, I usually get the eye roll. So with that, I would encourage that, the support for diversity, inclusion, and justice for all people of all backgrounds and ethnicities in this town is something that I'm really passionate about and I constantly am advocating for. So I do appreciate the comments, and I look forward to hearing more from folks in the community. Thank you.
All right, I would just like to thank everyone who came out tonight. The fact that we have so many people out and so early in the process for Mystic Education Center is wonderful. And we do appreciate hearing from you. I agree with prior counselors who have stated that there is a lot of misinformation out there. And I think that just means that we're going to have to do a better job in conveying what is really happening and where we are in the process, because there are many things stated that aren't fitting with where we are in the process. So that's on us to convey and communicate to you in a better fashion. So we will work on that. So noted. Thank you very much. At this point, we are at 8 o'clock already, and I think we will take 5 minutes before we start in on our business. Okay, so it's 8:03, and that will give Councillor Heed a chance to get here as well. I believe he's on his way. So we'll take 5 minutes. We'll reconvene at 8:09, please. Thank you so much. Counselor Baumgardner, would you move the consent calendar, please?
Yes, I will move the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second, Franco.
Moved by Baumgardner and seconded by Franco. This includes the meeting minutes from March 2nd and 23rd, the Town Council Board of Ed RTM joint meeting minutes, and special trust fund contributions. Seeing no discussion, we will vote on the consent calendar. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously with 8 counselors. We are on to communication and reports, and we'll begin with town councilors. And we will start with our normal order. So Counselor Baumgardner, please.
No report. Good to see everyone.
Thank you, sir. Counselor Parker?
Good evening. I took a tour, I believe it was last week. My weeks are off, I apologize. With Senator Murphy, Mr. Page Bronk, Mr. Flax, First Selectman, Councilor Danielle Cheeseborough, and we took a tour of downtown Mystic, and Senator Murphy was discussing things with the businesses and how they're doing with the COVID and providing the American Relief Fund Act and what stages did they get assistance if they had help. It was a great discussion with all the business owners and very encouraged about what I heard, that things were picking up, and I want to shout out to all of them that I was grateful to be able to chance to get to talk and hear what's going on in their worlds. The other meeting I attended that I didn't get a chance to talk about was the TVCCA. I did attend that normal meeting, which was the last Tuesday of the month. We also had a special meeting this evening that went well. I will type up my notes for that and email that to the counselors. And that is all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Parker. Counselor Franco.
I received many communications from citizens regarding a wide variety of topics. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. And thank you very much for all the communications and conversations I've had with people. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Obrey, communications?
Yes, just a call out for volunteers. April 24th, the Beautification Committee, the brainchild of Rachel Franco. We'll be having a cleanup, and the more people we can get out, the more we can clean up. We're going to be gathering down at the library at 9 o'clock on the 24th. And I hope to see some counselors there and anybody else in the public that might like to come and help us. And if they want, they can just email me with questions or tell me they're coming. And I'll be happy to forward that to Cindy. Rachel, what's Cindy's last name?
Cindy Fortner.
Thank you. Who is now chair of our Beautification Committee. Thank you.
Counselor Obrey, would you just like to state your email address? That way if people do want to volunteer, they know how to get to you?
Sure. It's Lian Obrey, LIANOBREY @gmail.com.
Thank you, Counselor Obrey.
Thank you.
Counselor Bordelon, communications?
Thank you. Just like Counselor Franco had stated, just communications, emails, speaking with folks, and happy to be in receipt of those communications. And I appreciate more to reach out if they need to. Thank you.
Counselor Melendez, communications, sir?
Hello. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Children First Groton is writing for a $35,000 grant that they just received, so they're applying for that. And I'll be back with updates when I know more. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Counselor Perry, communications, sir? You're muted, Counselor Zepari. Counselor Zepari, we can't hear if you're speaking. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
I have no report. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. I trying to remember if I already reported out on the long-term recovery meeting. I don't think we've had a chance to. Long-term recovery met on the March 24th, and we had updates from town staff and the manager as well, providing COVID updates. And there was also a discussion regarding the American Rescue Plan. And we've been briefed on that from Mr. Burt as well in council meetings and in his manager's report. So we're just waiting for the guidance as to how the money can be used once it is received within the town. The other thing is I had a call from Senator Kathy Austin. She is the representative for the Eastern Connecticut state delegation to our federal legislators. And she reached out to say that she had written a letter to Representative Courtney and to Representative DeLauro, who is appropriations chair, I believe, requesting projects based on input from our delegation in southeastern Connecticut. And one of those projects was the Groton Long Point Road Bridge. So she cued us in to some information that Mr. Burt has right now, and he's going to be preparing something that the town will be sending out, just talking about the project, the Groton Long Point Road Bridge, as well as one or two other bridges. You know, we have many bridges that are in need of repair, and he's going to be presenting that information to Representative Courtney. It's a timeliness thing, and we need to get something from the town manager to Representative Courtney soon. But then Senator Austin also recommended that we as a council at some point in the near future also draft something saying, yes, we would love to have support for these bridge projects that are really, really expensive. So that's something that will be coming up on the agenda. We're going to let Mr. Burt take care of what he needs to do, paperwork first, to get it to Representative Courtney, and then we'll be talking more about that. So that's where we are with that. Clerk of the Representative Town Meeting.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Lots to report. The RTM met last month, and they elected representative to fill 2nd district vacancy, Eddie Jacome, representative to fill the 3rd district vacancy, Ian Thomas, representative to fill the one of the 7th district vacancies, Emily Ray, and we still have a vacancy in the 7th district from Nancy Miller's resignation. So, and I know that there's another resignation coming from the 1st district. I just don't have it to report as of yet officially. They will be meeting on the 14th of April, and they do have plenty of things to work on. I believe we're going to have a couple things tonight passed on to them also. So that's that.
Thank you, Clerk of the Council.
Do you have any questions about the RTM at all? They did send a letter to the council. Did you receive that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Clerk of the Council.
Clerk of the Council. You know, I recently hired 2 fantastic new employees based on their skills, and they're placed perfectly. One in vital records and one in land records, and they're coming along great. Now you'll probably see at least one of them at meetings occasionally, so it'll be fun. And let's see, I did get a correspondence from Mr. Fitzgerald, which I forwarded to the town council on the RTM and the planning commission chair at the request of Mr. Fitzgerald regarding Mr. Coastal access. And then I have all the same correspondences that will be attached to these minutes, all of the written statements. And I think that there are more to be coming because people couldn't speak, so we'll include those also. They'll be attached to the electronic and then in the physical file also. That's
Thank
it.
you, Madam Clerk. I did forget one bit of communications. I've heard of Toto toilets that have lights within them, but I've never seen a toilet with Christmas lights in it until I looked out my front window when I was on my 5-minute recess. So there will be a donation coming to the Fitch High School grad party. And I'm looking around for the next victim or the next generous donor. So one of you can expect to see the lovely toilet with Christmas lights coming soon to your house. It's a great fundraiser. Thank you. Who are the creative people who came up with it? Molly Ziegler, I know, was in on this. Thank you so much. It's a really nice idea.
Is that the I've been flushed that I've seen around town?
Yes, yes, indeed. I don't know what color it is yet. I can't tell what color it is, but there's a toilet in my front yard with Christmas lights in it. So thank you, Molly, or whoever it was. Maybe it was Rachel. She's smiling on me. But it'll be passed along.
You'll have to get some pictures and post those so we can.
Soon as
Just
we're done.
just to let you know, if you pay extra money, you can find out who sent it to you.
Oh, can we decide where it goes if we pay extra money? Oh, okay.
Yes,
Nice to know. All right, maybe they'll be going 9 places. I don't know. All right, thank you so much. I'm sorry. That was totally inappropriate. Mr. Manager.
Good evening. A bit of a COVID update if you're interested. The last report from the state was April 1st. We did tick up in our infections from 17.5 cases per 100,000 people per day until the new report has us at 20.5. So we are inching up a little bit. And just for reference, the worst we've been is about 7 weeks ago or so. We were at 55 cases. So we're still quite a bit down from that. 15 is the red alert category. So we are still in the red alert category, monitoring that closely. In terms of where we're at for vaccinations, I just heard the Connecticut's in the top 3 states in the country for vaccinations, which is great. In terms of total population in Connecticut, at least 1 dose, 32.6% of the people have had that. 19% of all people have had the full vaccination. 18 and over, 41.7% at least 1 dose, and 24.4% for 18 and over, or for fully vaccinated. And then those 65 plus, 75.9% with 1 dose, 56.6% fully vaccinated. So it is showing a lot of progress. The town buildings are scheduled to reopen on April 19th. There'll be a bit of phasing for a couple of departments like the senior center, that type of thing, and the human services. But if you go onto Facebook or onto our website, you can get the details of the reopening. We are, however, watching the numbers closely. If we saw it, jump significantly, we may have to rethink that. But it is the plan to open on the 19th. Lots of people ready for the library to be open, so we'll do our best. In terms of other stuff going on, a lot of stuff going on with Public Works. I'll point out a couple of them. You should see going out right now is we had plain basic recycling and trash cans in Mystic. Public Works just repainted all those really nicely, put a little design on them and like a seagull on one type. So you should be seeing those going out. I'll send a photo out to the council members this week. It came out really nice though. We're waiting on timelines to repair the town dock. Start with the no ink with the Nautilus dock. However, before we can start the Nautilus dock and sign contracts, we actually have to receive the money from the state for the grant. So we're trying to secure that at this time. Public Works just replaced the directional arrows and Mystic for COVID for the one-way access on the bridge. Those have faded over the winter, so they have been freshly replaced to remind people which direction to go. We have other signage up there too, of course. Other than that, right there, as you know, we had that recent event at the Raheem Carter Park. We are in the process of having a brand new sign done. Should be done any time now. We'll get that put up. And I've talked previously with the family about, we're going to get together, talk about other things that might be able to be done there. So that'll be forthcoming.
Very good.
That's all I
Thank
have.
you. And you, I'm sure, will let us know when you receive the direction as to how the money from the federal government can be spent, I assume, correct?
Yes, hopefully we'll get it in the next, right around the next cow, probably a week after, maybe.
Okay, very good. Okay, Counselor Franco and Bordelon. Questions for Mr. Burt, I assume?
Yes. Do you have any idea when we as a town council may be coming back and having in-person meetings? Or do you have some kind of timeline?
That's really up to the council. That's not my purview. So whatever the council wants to do, staff will accommodate.
Because we're still under the state of emergency, and I thought you were making some of the decisions on that.
We are still under the state of emergency. If no, we'll see where the numbers go. I do still have emergency manager powers. I kind of forgot about that, but I certainly take into consideration. If the council wants it open, please reach out to me or in person, and we can hash over that. But at this time, there's no immediate plans to reopen.
Okay, and then the second thing is, I just wanted to clarify something, and I want maybe you could do it for me. I had discussed and said there was no bonding with a TIF, and then another counselor had said they wanted bonding with a project. Can you just, so there's no confusion tonight, that we're both of us counselors are talking about two different things?
Yeah, we are not. There is no consideration of actually bonding for that project at all.
To pay for it,
right? For us, and nothing, no town involvement in bonding.
So that the town would not financially bond to build that development.
Correct.
And the other counselor was talking about a different type of bonding that they were interested in.
I think that was more of a bond to complete construction, that type of thing, similar to what we've included in the data center agreement. Am I correct on that? I think that's Councilor Obrey, or who, I can't remember who it was. Who was that?
That's Councilor Obrey. I assume that's what you meant as well. Councilor Obrey.
Yes, the bonding that I'm talking about is just that. It's for completion.
Yep.
If they don't complete, then you have a bond and you get the money and you finish the project. So it protects the town.
We would certainly want that, yes.
Yeah.
We would make that a requirement, definitely. But yet, no, the town would not be putting out any bonding themselves in terms of infrastructure or anything else like that. So yes, good point. Two different types of bonds.
Right. I just wanted to clarify it for those who were in the meeting and who have brought up bonding. And I wanted to make sure that they understood it was two different types of bonding that both Councilor Obrey and myself were talking about.
Right. And the one Councilor Obrey is talking about is called a performance bond.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Councilor Bordelon, did you have a question for the manager?
Sure, thank you. First, John, at one of the meetings I had discussed, you had brought up the raise policy that was enacted in 2007. And thank you. I got the email, I believe, today about that. So I will review it tonight. I was just wondering if you could send that on to the RTM as well.
Sure.
I think it's important to have it so that everybody can review it, especially with the budget, so that they can understand. As you know, I was not aware of that document, but from what I read through, my question was, it sounds like it's not a binding document. Is that correct? It's kind of like, as you stated, the last town manager didn't follow that, or as you stated, did not give raises to non-union employees at some given time. So I just wanted to clarify, like, is that a binding document, or we can choose when we want to use it?
It's the policy. You'd be ignoring town policy to not go by it. And I actually talked to Cindy a little more about what happened in the past. In 2007, when that policy was adopted, there was a even older pay plan in place. Well, with that older pay plan in place, people basically reached the end of the pay plan. And so that's much of the thing, is there just wasn't room for growth. The town council, I think, was it right around when this council was coming in. I think that's when right at the end of the former two councils ago, they adopted an updated pay plan that is in place now.
Okay.
And then in terms of, and then my part, I do have the authority to give raises, but it's got some odd language if you look in it. I can give raises from 2.5% to 4%, which is weird, but it has been reviewed by council, by attorneys.
By the attorney, you're saying?
Yep.
Okay. And then my last thing, minority recruiting, where do we stand as far as our hiring in our town and being, I know we made a stance, to be more environmental friendly. I think it would be important at some point, and I will be putting it forward, that we adopt, like the school has, as being, more diverse and inclusive as a community. I spoke about putting flags and things down at the town hall and things like that. So I'm just curious as to how that, when I first got involved 5 years ago, it was, well, we just send out the resume and no one applies. And so then it was, we were going to move forward to kind of really actively minority to recruit more.
Right.
And I'm wondering where we stand as with that today.
Sure, and I think I've given it. I don't have all the information with me. That's really more of an HR thing in terms of their actual process. They've reached out to a variety of colleges and publications and websites for places to post. The police department has switched up their process to try to gain more applicants, and it does seem to be working. I don't know how much. It looks like we'll probably have a couple minority. Good chance of it if they go through the process into the police department soon. I don't know how much I can stand that. Sorry.
Well,
but
Chief Sorrow stated that there was 2. Do we know?
Oh, did he? Yeah. There's 2 openings in the
male, female. I mean, because it's great to have diversity of gender as well. Do we know anything about?
I can't say. I'm not involved in that process, so I can't really say. He told me before. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Thank you. Thank you for the update.
Yep.
Councilor Melendez, question for the manager?
Yes, I just wanted to note that the assistant town manager is leading an effort to diversify the town staff. We have the DEI committee has a committee that's working on this, and we meet monthly. And the whole HR department gave a presentation, I think a month or 2 ago, on their efforts. And yeah, I would encourage everyone to get involved. It's open meetings. Thank you.
Good point. Sorry, I forgot. I meant to mention that, and I totally forgot.
Thank you. That.
Great.
All right, and I don't think we have any department heads here tonight that wish to speak at this point, Mr. Burt.
I don't believe so.
Great, very good. Committee reports. I have nothing from Committee of the Whole. Councilor Melendez, do you have anything for personnel and appointments?
Paige is here.
Yes, but I don't believe he's speaking on this right now. He's here for another item.
You said department heads.
Yeah.
Personnel and appointments did not meet in March.
Thank you. Chairman Obrey, for rules, did you have anything you wanted to report out?
Just to say again that we will have a meeting shortly after completion of the budget. And we have 2 requests that we will be finalizing, and a new request which we will review.
Thank you. And Chairman Baumgartner, for public safety, do you have anything to report, sir?
No meeting, no report.
Thank you. So we are on to new business, 2021-2062 data center host municipality fee agreement.
Madam Mayor, before you move forward, I just had a question for Councilor Obrey.
Councilor Obrey.
Regarding rules.
As Chairman of Rules,
yep,
yes.
Yep. I just wanted to make sure that my request was received, that I had asked at the last meeting, and then I sent it in writing.
Yes, it was. And we've had discussion, and we will, that's one of the 2, I believe.
No.
Sure, but I think that's one of the 2 that we will be finalizing.
No, ma'am. No. Chairman Obrey, that's not the 2.
Oh, don't correct me tonight. Tell me tomorrow.
But to reassure Councilor Bordelon, her referral has been received, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we are on to 2021-2062 data center host municipality fee agreement. This was on page 30 in your packet, and I believe this is Councilor Parker.
Data center host municipality fee agreement. Whereas the state of Connecticut has enacted legislation known as House Bill number 6514, Public Act number 21-1, to incentivize the development of large-scale data centers within Connecticut, the legislation, which legislation is effective July 1st, 2021, and whereas the legislation sets forth that any person that anticipates that it will be an owner, operator, or co-location tenant of or in a qualified data center as such terms are defined in the legislation, may seek and apply for exemption from certain taxes imposed under chapters 203 and 219 of the Connecticut General Statutes, subject to satisfying certain requirements required by such legislation, including but not limited to the obligation to enter into and satisfy the requirements of a written host municipality fee agreement with the municipality in which such qualified data center is located. And whereas GotSpace Data Partners LLC, GotSpace, intends to develop and serve as the owner, as such term is defined in the legislation, of one or more qualified data centers within Groton, and whereas the development and operation of qualified data centers are expected to contribute substantially to economic development and employment growth in the host municipality, accordingly, Groton expects to receive substantial benefits from hosting one or more qualified data centers developed and operated by GotSpace within Groton. And whereas the town of Groton supports development of qualified data centers within Groton, and GotSpace appreciates and will continue to benefit from the successful operation of any qualified data center located within Groton's borders. And whereas pursuant to the legislation, the town and GotSpace mutually desire to enter into a qualified data center host municipality fee agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A, the agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that the town council hereby authorizes the town to enter into said qualified data center host municipality fee agreement with GotSpace and to perform all obligations of the town arising thereunder. And be it further resolved that the town council hereby authorizes the town manager in consultation with the town attorney to execute said qualified data center host municipality fee agreement and such other ancillary documents as may be ancillary thereto, and or take such other actions, if any, as may be necessary or advisable to effectuate the intent of such agreement on behalf of the town. I so move.
Second, Baumgartner.
Moved by Parker and seconded by Baumgartner. Thank you, Councilor Parker. All right, and Mr. Burton, I'm not sure if you or one of the members of your team wanted to speak to this at all. We've had discussions on this before, but I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, if anybody missed it, just last Tuesday, we did have a special meeting where we went through the agreement. I think you've heard some good comments about the data center tonight, and I fully endorse it and think it's a great opportunity for us.
Thank you, Mr. Burt. And we are still at 8 counselors, so Councilor Bordelon, you wish to speak on this item?
Yes, thank you. I know this was discussed at our special meeting. I just want to say for the record, I did have environmental concerns because it is close to the watershed, and I am concerned about the runoff there. And so at this time, I mean, I'm in support of moving forward with this, but I look forward to making sure the protection and sustainability aspects of that area are withheld as stated, and that I do appreciate Mr. Driscoll speaking and talking about the different chemical components and what have you, as far as the fire and safety of the community as a whole. So, you know, this was discussed. We've talked from, I think, counselors speaking, from asking questions about, do we have enough from our power company to be able to support this, to the environmental risk. So I'm feeling comfortable moving forward, but I look forward to seeing what other paperwork and documents and protections will be in place as we move forward. Thank you.
And we're on to Councilor Baumgartner. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to voice my support for the resolution before us. A big thank you and hats off to Manager Burt for bringing this agreement to us. We recall in previous meetings, we supported the, our first COW meeting, we supported the agreement conditioned on a public hearing. The manager not only provided the information to us in a timely fashion, but I think went above and beyond in providing the documentation and provided it in a very thorough manner. So I understand that this deal is supported by our local labor. The developer has an MOU with the Building Trades Council so that this these buildings will be built by local union labor. And so not only will this be obviously a major economic development project for the town, but also a significant job creator. And as Councilor Bordelon mentioned, while it does fall into the watershed, and the conversations I've had with folks who are responsible for protecting that watershed, they assured me that the development project will not hinder any efforts to further protect our existing watershed and reservoir. Again, thank you, Manager Burt, for your leadership on this and your negotiations. Fully support this deal, and look forward to seeing the data center move forward and through other approval processes and and signing other agreements as well. So, this is a good day to celebrate, considering the massive amount of revenue and the windfall that Groton will receive should this data center be built. This is the future. Obviously this data center would not have been built without a close connection to the fiber lines, as Manager Burt has mentioned in the past. So look forward to seeing the shovel in the ground on this project. And again, thank you, Manager Burt, for providing our answers to our questions.
Thank you. Councilor Obrey?
I just wanted to say also that I think this is an exciting opportunity for Groton. I'm certainly in favor of it. I appreciate some of the concerns that are being shared, but I think overall this is going to be a very good beginning, and we'll probably see, I hope, growth in this particular endeavor in town, and I hope everybody shares the enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other counselors who would like to speak before we go to second time hands? I just want to say briefly, thank town staff and our attorneys for their work on coming up with an agreement that we are all comfortable with as we are looking out for the people of Groton. As you know, we're stewards of the land, but we're also looking out for our taxpayers and trying to do what's best for our taxpayers. So thank you for doing that, Mr. Burt, and our legal team. And I share some of the environmental concerns, but I'm also heartened knowing that we have very good land use agencies in town, and that this project will go through those processes, and they too are looking out for the people and our natural resources. So thank you very much. And any other first time speakers before we go to second time? Councilor Baumgardner?
Yes, I'd be remiss if we didn't mention, give credit where it's due to our legislative delegation, Representative Conley, Representative Delacruz, and Senator Summers. They supported special legislation earlier on in the legislative session that permitted us to even consider this host agreement. And a special credit to Senator Summers for even bringing the idea or being a part of a group that brought the idea to the council much before the state considered passing this legislation. So, those are two Democratic representatives and a Republican senator. And I think, we should highlight when there are moments when we do come together and work on a project. We all ask tough questions, and sometimes emotions can run high, but it's nice to see a project get over the finish line. So I wanted to give our legislative delegation an attaboy as well.
All right, we will vote on 2021-206 Data Center Host Municipality Fee Agreement. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved unanimously with 8 counselors. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Roman numeral 10B, 2021-18-2, 2021 Shinnecock rates. This began on page 32 or it is on page 32 in your packet, and I believe we are on Counselor Franco, please.
My windows are all moving around. I'm sorry here.
It's okay.
Resolution setting 2021 rates for the Shanticosset Golf Course, whereas the Golf Advisory Board and the Parks and Recreation Commission have endorsed changes to the fees and membership rates for the Shanticosset Golf Course for 2021. And whereas the recommendations include an increase in adult, associate, and associate plus memberships, and now therefore it be resolved that the municipal golf course rates for 2021 shall be rates as attached to this resolution. I don't have to read them, do I?
I don't believe so, because it is part of the record.
Okay, I so move.
Second.
Moved by Franco and seconded by Zepari. Mr. Burt, did you want to add anything on this?
I don't have anything.
Very good. Councillor Bordelon and Councillor Obrey have their hands up. Councillor Bordelon, you have the floor.
Yes, I just wanted to, I had someone ask me, they saw the rates and they were in favor of them. But they were asking, what are the hours of operation like currently? What time do we close and what time are they opening?
I see
I
them.
do not know off the top of my head.
What?
I'm just saying I don't have the hours with me.
I guess what they were trying to ask is that.
Okay.
Go ahead. If you have the answer. Go ahead.
They start. I think the first tee off is at 7 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then they stop taking people, I believe, at 6. The last. Of course, that's light prevailing, right? That's given that we have enough daylight for that. So when it is darker earlier, they don't let people out after that. But during the summer, they can go out at 6 o'clock would be the last.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I had figured, what I had saw. But if someone was asking if they increase those hours during the summer, which may help increase revenues and playtime. Not everyone golfs the whole course. So some people were asking, was there any reason it has to close at 6 in the warmer months? And it might help with like being able to get more people through.
I don't know if you want me to try to answer that or not, but
I just didn't know if it was taken in consideration looking at the rates and looking at the economic impact of it and be able to bring in more people. So
they're doing I'm answering as a member of the Golf Advisory Board, and they're doing very well right now with revenue. So that's very good for the town and for the course. And you can't go much later than that because it does take quite a bit of time to play even 9 holes. So there's only so much time that, you know, when you tee off, you've got to go the 9 holes at least. So you can't push it out too much later or you're going to be there after dark.
That's why I was just wondering to see if it was different summer hours. Thank you.
Councillor Obrey?
No, I just wanted to say that I think that Mr. Barry and his group have been doing a really nice job at the golf course, and got to get the beautification group together with them to see what we can do to help with the plantings. We had assistance from the new member of the EDC staff. Help me with her name.
Tabitha, but I don't know her last name. I apologize.
Tabitha has done a very, very nice plan, and I know John was going to make everybody aware of that. So they're doing a nice job. Thank you.
It's Tabitha Harkin, just for everyone to know. Harkin.
Ms. Harkin. Thank you. I'm sorry. I apologize for calling her by her first name.
Listen, I couldn't even remember that. So you're okay.
All right. So we will vote on 2021-18, 2021 Shanticosset rates. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved unanimously with 8 councillors. Okay, we are on to Roman numeral 10C, 2021-1021, Southeastern Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit Mutual Police Assistance Compact, page 34. And I believe this is Councillor Obrey.
Okay. Let's see. Resolution authorizing the Southeastern Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit Mutual Police Assistance Compact. Whereas the compact establishes the Southeastern Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit Mutual Police Assistance Compact and sets forth the responsibility of participating agencies, and whereas it is the belief of the participating agencies that the prevention, detection, and enforcement of motor vehicle violations, driving under the influence violation, and the investigation of serious injuries or fatal motor vehicle crashes can best be served by creating this regional approach. A regional approach results in better coordination and less duplication of law enforcement efforts and resources. And whereas the specialized training needed in this area of investigation and enforcement is a resource that can be shared with participating agencies, and now therefore be it resolved, authorization is given to sign and enter into the Southeastern Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit Mutual Police Assistance Compact with the towns of Ledged and Stonington and the city of Groton. I so move.
Second, Bordelon.
Moved by Obrey and seconded by Bordelon. Mr. Burt, did you want to add anything on this? We've had discussion in committee of the whole.
I have nothing further.
Thank you. Okay, we will vote on 2021-102, Southeastern Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit Mutual Police Assistance Compact. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved unanimously. Thank you. We are on to 2020-6904 Groton Heights property. This was on page 35, and I believe we're on Councilor Bordelon.
I'm actually going to pass tonight due to my eyesight. I'm having a little bit of trouble.
Councilor Melendez, are you able to take 2020-6904 Groton Heights property, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
I make a resolution to authorize the sale of the former Groton Heights School and refer the sale to the RTM for approval. Whereas the town of Groton owns excess buildings and properties that are no longer needed for public uses, and whereas the town has been marketing the former Groton Heights School for over a decade, and whereas the town has been working with the selected preferred developer on a proposal for the site, and whereas Connecticut General Statute Section 7-163E requires a public hearing by the legislative body on the sale of real property owned by a municipality that has value exceeding $10,000, and whereas the town council held a public hearing on December 1st, 2020 for the sale of the former Groton Heights School, and whereas the sale of the former Groton Heights School was referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for Connecticut General Statute 8-24, and on February 25th, 2020, the commission found that the sale of the property is consistent with the plan of conservation and development, and whereas an option for the eventual purchase of the property has been prepared by the town attorney and is under review by the preferred developer, and whereas Section 9.6 of the Town of Groton Charter requires the sale of all properties with a value in excess of $10,000 to be recommended to the RTM for approval, and now therefore be it resolved that the town council hereby authorizes the sale of the former Groton Heights School and refers the sale to the RTM for approval. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Melendez and seconded by Zepari. Mr. Burt, anything to add at this point?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Okay, we will, Councilor Bordelon, you have the floor.
You're muted.
Thanks, Councilor Melendez, for telling me. I just wanted to say in that area, I do have concerns. People have spoken and stated, they feel as if, we have to look at open space and other avenues and other areas of our town. So I do hope that there will be some preservation of trees and locations in that area that will be considered. But first step is the sale, and then further documents and things will come. But I hope that there is a process in place to consider that side of town. Thank you.
Councillor Obrey?
I just had a question for the manager. John, is this contingent on working out the paper road situation, the dissolving of it?
That will need to be, oops, sorry, let me turn my camera on. That will need to be completed. I believe both Mr. Bronk and Mr. Reiner are working with the attorney. It's not thought to be a complicated process, but that will need to be done.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Are there other first-time speakers before we go to second-time speakers? Councillor Borderline, you have the floor.
I just think, for full disclosure, can you just explain what Councillor Obrey is stating? Because some people who maybe not watch as often might not understand what that is. Town Manager Burt, could you explain what the complication is and what's going on with that a little bit more in detail? Thank you.
Sure, Mr. Bronk or Mr. Reiner step in if need be. Essentially, at one point, it was a platted road, meaning the maps actually showed it designated as a road. However, it was never built. So both half of the road is on through the library.
Hello?
Oh.
Yeah. It's Lian.
Oh. Half the road is on the library property, half is on our property. Not down the middle of it, but like splitting it in half, whole sections of that road. So it's just a process it was never built. It's a process just to make it so it's not dedicated as a road any longer. And they've always been used at those sites anyways.
Mr. Bronk, did you want to add something, sir?
No, I just wanted to support what the manager stated. That is correct.
Thank you. Okay, we will vote on 2020-690 Groton Heights property. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved unanimously with 8 councillors. Councillors Perry, we are on to 2021-1771 Neighborhood Assistance Act on page 36. Could you take this one, please?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I was on to the next one.
It's okay.
Resolution to set a public hearing for the 2021 Neighborhood Assistance Act for some proposals. Whereas the town of Groton has received proposals from Sacred Heart School, Oddfellows Avery Cop House Museum, and Riverfront Children's Center for the 2021 Neighborhood Assistance Act. And whereas the town of Groton Department of Planning and Development Services received a proposal from each of these entities to achieve tax credit savings on energy efficiency and energy conservation projects. And whereas the Town of Groton Office of Planning and Development Services is responsible for scheduling appropriate public hearings with the Town Council to review said proposals. And whereas the Town of Groton Office of Planning and Development Services supports all of these energy efficiency and energy conservation proposals from Sacred Heart School, Oddfellows, Avery Cop House Museum, and Riverfront Children's Center, and acknowledges that the post-program review will be their responsibility. And now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council hereby sets a public hearing for the 2021 Neighborhood Assistance Act for May 4, 2021. I so move.
Second, Parker.
Moved by Perry and seconded by Parker.
I will say, as a matter of disclosure, once again, I serve on the advisory board for the Sacred Heart School.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. And these are routine grants that we do every year for various organizations. Councillor Bordelon.
Thank you. As stated at the other meeting, I would like to see who else is applying for these grants. I think, John, do you have any numbers to put forward tonight of how many people actually applied, or everyone that applied actually got it? I'd like to see a little bit more diverse representation in the community. I know these grants are used for energy improvements and structures and buildings, but there are agencies and other, I just would like to see that us kind of broaden. I know it was said at the one meeting that certain groups were identified, and I just wanted to know how we vetted those. I know we have a new person in charge of that currently, and she did state that she would be, reaching out a little bit further.
May I interrupt for 1 second just to announce Councilor Heed is here, so we are at 9 councilors at 9 p.m. Thank you.
Yep. Mr. Reiner is probably the better one to answer since it's under his department. I believe he's having Ms. Harkin work on a list, but I believe it's posted on Facebook, Mr. Reiner, or Mr. Bronx. Sorry, you're probably the best one. And then as well as it goes to a list of all the eligible applicants in the town. Is that correct?
This is Paige Brock, Economic and Community Development Manager. That is correct. Just to clarify one point, we don't actually authorize, or we're not providing the grant. It's a state-run program that matches corporate entities with nonprofits. So basically, if an energy conservation, energy efficiency project is put forward, 100% of that cost, up to $150,000, will be covered through that corporate sponsorship. And the state allows basically the cash by the corporate sponsorship provided to the nonprofit to be credited dollar for dollar up to $150,000. So again, it is a state-run program. We are somewhat of a pass-through to do some review and some review and accountability regarding these. And to answer Councilor Bordelon's question, how many applied? Since my involvement with this project, this program, every single applicant that applies, going all the way back to 2017, has received state funding. So it's not our role to necessarily critique and make a recommendation on whether something should receive funding or not. If they meet the state's guidance and they go through the process, it's my understanding that they're basically assured the funding. We are interested in always expanding our list, but our list today is greater than it's ever been in terms of our outreach, in terms of putting forward the information, whether it be a flyer, Facebook, what have you. So we're all ears. We want to do better, but I think this year the program is better than it's ever been.
Thank you. So my question to that was, I understand that it's a pass-through and it's not something that we're funding outright, and but I guess I asked for the list of who was sent the information on how to apply, and I just wanted it's the same recipients every year, and so I think it's great, and I think it's great if everyone who applies can get it. But I have reached out to some agencies that was not aware of this, or did not receive this hand, kind of, hey, this is coming up type of thing. Also, there's new agencies in our town, so I was more saying, I would like to see it offered to other programs in our town as well, and extending that hand. So if you could send me the list, as I had asked, of who it was sent to, so that I could kind of see who's on that list, but I might actually have some other agencies, and I'd like to be able to let people know as well. So if you could send that list that I requested several weeks ago, about who was reached out to. Thank you.
Councilor Heed, I apologize. Yes, we are on 2021-177 Neighborhood Assistance Act. It was moved by Zepari and seconded by Parker. All right, we are at 9 councilors. We will vote on 2021-177 Neighborhood Assistance Act. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved unanimously with 9 councilors. Thank you. And we are back to Councilor Baumgartner for 2021-187-1 Mystic Coastal Access Wayfinding Signage. This was on page 37 in your packet.
Yes. Resolution authorizing the allocation of $40,000 of capital reserve fund unassigned fund balance for FYE 2021 capital reserve fund project entitled Mystic Coastal Access Wayfinding Signage. Whereas the town of Groton has developed a coastal access signage program, and whereas the town of Groton wishes to improve the ability for residents, business owners, and tourists to utilize the coastal trail and access points in Mystic, and whereas the town of Groton has received an allocation of $15,000 from the state of Connecticut for the implementation of the Mystic Coastal Access Wayfinding Program, and whereas the town of Groton wishes to contribute $25,000 from the town's capital reserve account towards the state of Connecticut DEEP allocation of funding for this project, and now therefore be it resolved that an allocation of $40,000 from the capital reserve fund unassigned fund balance is approved for a FYE 2021 Planning and Economic Development Project 8G Mystic Coastal Access Wayfinding Signage, and the town council hereby authorizes the town manager to accept the DEEP allocation and sign any required documents to receive said state allocation. So moved and now referred to the RTM.
Is there a second? Moved by Baumgartner and seconded by Franco. And yes, you did hear that it was referred to the RTM, Madam Clerk, correct?
Yes, I heard that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burt, did you want to add anything?
Nothing for me.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, we will vote on 2021-187 Mystic Coastal Access Wayfinding Signage. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved unanimously with 9 councilors. Thank you. We are on to Roman numeral 11, other business, 2020-8943, open agenda item review. These items are the packets was page 38. I'm sorry?
I have it on page 39.
Yeah, 38 where the item numbers. Okay, so we have several councilors who wish to speak. We have Councilor Franco and then Perry.
Thank you. So the fund balance minimum review, can you tell me when you think that may possibly show up on our agenda?
I do not know. Mr. Burt, I'm not sure where we are. We haven't planned out for April yet as far as what's coming up for the next 2, because we've been somewhat occupied with other things coming our way that came up and required very timely action. So we will be meeting on, we have our normal meetings on Wednesday to set the agendas. But we will know Thursday what's coming up for the next cow.
I just didn't know if we were waiting on something that may take a couple months, or if it might be sooner than later. That's all I was, am I looking at like 4 months down the line or more quick? That's all.
I'm not sure at this point, and I don't know that a lot of this is driven by things that come up that have to be dealt with quickly, like the data center stuff, or grants that come up and things like that, and then we have to kind of shuffle things about. We'll have next week's agenda and we can talk about it at our Wednesday meeting and see if we can plot out these outstanding items. I don't have an answer. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I was just curious. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilor Perry.
Yes, I just noticed that the tax abatement for seniors 2020-432 was referred to committee. I'm on that committee, and the committee did meet and made a recommendation to the council and forwarded it to the council. So it's just not that the committee is silent. We're waiting for the council to put it on the agenda once again.
Okay, so for clarification purposes, then what we have from your committee is all that you're intending to do, and now you're bouncing it back to us then for further action?
Yes, it's quite clear in the letter that I sent to all the councilors and to, I believe I sent it to Mr. Burt and to the town clerk, that the committee set forward a recommended course. But the next step is to appoint 5 taxpayers to consider the issues, and they have 60 days after they are appointed to come up with a report about the impact of the tax abatement plan on the revenues for the town.
Okay, so we will consider putting that in, as well as the fund balance minimum review policy. The council has to decide whether we're going to move ahead with that. But now that we have the recommendation from your committee, everybody can debate that item and decide if they're going to go forward with that particular approach. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilor Baumgartner.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just inquiring on 2020-637 complete streets policy. John, by any chance, did Planning and Zoning review or review that item yet?
I just heard from Deb Jones the other day that it was supposed to go to them a little while ago, but they had some other business they had to take care of with all the development that's going on. She hopes it's going to be at their next meeting, though. It is on the radar, and I've been checking in with her, though.
Awesome, thank you.
So it should be soon.
Okay. I also wanted to note one of these items, 2020-77. We did the tour already, so I don't know if that one should come off. And we're waiting on short-term rentals. Councilor Obrey. You're muted, Councilor Obrey.
I apologize for that. In reference to the short-term rentals, I just thought I would share with the council that the demand for the rentals this year is out of sight. And I know that I don't think we completed just what we're going to do. I know we did take the police chief to recommend that they try to use existing rules and regulations, but I think that the numbers coming out are going to far surpass anything we've discussed, and I really encourage the appropriate committee to go a little further with this. If nothing else, then to get it so that who's doing it registers, and perhaps that they at least let us know if they're going to be in the area and the names of the people that are going to be occupying their properties. I think quite a few people are renting their homes to pay their taxes, so they probably won't be there. But it's just amazing calls that are coming in.
Thank
and
you.
I don't even do them, so.
I'm sorry. That's with Planning and Development Services right now, so it's not with the committee at this point. Mr. Reiner had offered to gather information, come back to us with it. So once we get that back from Mr. Reiner, then we can, we'll present it. I'm not sure where the noise is coming from. We'll present it and then figure out where the council wants to go with it. But yes, so noted.
Thank you very much.
Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. In reference to the unexpended education funds account, I've done a little bit more work on that. I have some more notes. I'm just trying to put it in a coherent thing, just looking around at different municipalities and places that are using them. Once I'm done with my research on that, what's the best next step for getting it to move forward?
You should share that information with the rest of the council, probably via email, so it becomes public record. And then at that point, make a recommendation for what you would like, if you'd like us to, put it on an agenda, or if you need further time, or if you're looking for other people to help you work on it. But I think the first step would be for you to, grab whatever information you have and disseminate it to your peers.
Correct. That's what I'm doing. I'm still just waiting to make sure it's something that I can submit as a whole. So still working on that though. Thank you.
All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Parker.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait. Rats. I'm sorry. Did you already take that motion?
Yes, I'm sorry. Councilor Zepari, unless Councilor Zepari would like to withdraw. I didn't get the second, so.
I'll withdraw if somebody has some other business to conduct.
Parker will withdraw her second.
Thanks. I just didn't know where to plug this in, but.
One minute, please. So Councilor Zepari has withdrawn his motion to adjourn. Councilor Parker has withdrawn her second to adjourn. Madam Clerk, you wish to speak?
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. It just, I didn't know where to put this in, and I thought maybe, getting your attention under other business, because I had a message from Councilor Obrey after the March 3rd meeting that she requested to add a possible correction to her statement that she had given during the response to citizens' petitions. And so for the record, she said that she was incorrect with the list of members of the selection committee. So I just wanted to make sure that got onto the record.
That should have been under minutes, I believe, because did we not keep those minutes tonight?
It could have gone there, or I was hoping that Councilor Obrey would have done it, so.
Okay. Well, Councilor Parker, did you wish to add something?
Yes, didn't we already approve them?
We did. We already approved the minutes, yes.
It's just a matter of putting it on the record that she made the statement, it's fine. It doesn't, it'll go in this minutes.
All right, very good. Councilor Zepari, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Parker.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Zepari and Councilor Parker. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved unanimously at 9:17 p.m. We are adjourned, and stay tuned for a toilet in your yard too.
Please don't.
That's okay. I won't.
Good night, John boy.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. Be
Good
well.
night.
Right.